back. Hobby Palooza 2021. Honored to be asked back once again. So thank you to Bench Clear Media for having me. Looking forward to showing off some cards today. 2020 Hobby Palooza was a blast. It was a ton of fun. Had a chance to talk to a ton of collectors. And, the hobby has obviously boomed and gone crazy in the last year, but there's always something you can collect. And there's different ways you can collect. There's so many different aspects. Obviously, right now in YouTube land and social media in general, of course, with Instagram being so popular, everyone's making the push for invest in this, invest in that. You have to buy the $1,000 card, the $10,000 card. Now you have people flashing their $25,000 trades. And quite honestly, we all know that is not what you have to do. Doesn't mean you can't buy different stuff and you can't go big time if you can afford that, but there's so many aspects to collecting. There's the brand new stuff, there's the ultra modern stuff, the things coming out next week, the things coming out the week after that. There's so many different sports. We see how many things getting to be insanely popular now. Even other sports, UFC has become really big. And you have vintage and pre-war. You have well over 100 years of history in trading cards that you have to choose from. And my advice is always, test the waters and you will evolve as a collector. Even on YouTube, you look back on the years I've been doing this. I was well known for being a TTM guy, through the mail autographs. Then all of a sudden it became the PSA guy doing the PSA reveals. Then it was breaking boxes. It's always been something different. Now, it's whatever it is, but it's always, for me, been consistent, collecting Phillies. And it's multi-layered, and that's the whole thing with collecting, is all the layers to it. If you're literally just siphoning through packs, you're going to lose interest pretty quick. But if you have, a real passion for something, that's where you're going to get the most enjoyment. And for me, team collecting is just that, because, I get to chase the brand new stuff. I get to go after some of the old stuff. Luckily for me, with the Phillies, it's a long history, well over 100 years. And kind of fortunately, they've been pretty bad for a large portion of that history. So, you're not collecting Yankees where you have the $1 million cards. So that's a benefit, of course. But there's so many awesome things to collect, and it's not just the collecting part, it's the connections, it's your memories from watching the players, it's doing research and learning about players from the past. There's so many great aspects to that, and of course, the biggest part is making connections with this community, all the great friends I've made here on YouTube, not just through watching each other's videos, but also from, meeting up at card shows, meeting up in person at ball games, and at, of course, the National being that biggest event. And of course, family's a big aspect of that too. I was very fortunate to grow up with 4 brothers and a sister, all enjoying baseball, watching the Phillies, going on baseball trips across the country and locally, and of course going down to Veterans Stadium for years, and going to Citizens Bank Park, which can't believe that stadium is about 17 years old now. And of course, one of the ways I've been able to collect and enjoy the Phillies is with my dad, who is joined today for the live broadcast. So we have not one, but 2 MikeOs today.
Hi, everybody.
So we're going to go through some of these cards. We're going to show off as many as I can. I went through as much as I could. I have so much more I could go through. I have probably too much, more than I can get through in one stream. But before I go through the cards, just real quick, bring it on screen again. Do you have any memory of how the whole card thing started?
Well, I collected my cards, but we played with them. We flipped them against the wall, and I think we played a game, Topsies, where you flipped them, and you had to match what the other person flipped to win the card. They both had to be either face up or downside. Unfortunately, I have none of my cards left. I did have a lot of Phillies, and a younger brother who passed away had them. I gave all my cards to him, and when he passed away, I gave them to a younger cousin. This is 50 years ago, I'm talking. So I have no cards. Unfortunately, Michael didn't get any of my cards.
Well, do you remember how we started buying cards together?
Oh, God. Michael was, I gotta say, 8 or 9 years old. And he said, can we go to Kmart and buy a couple packs of cards? Well, we bought a couple thousand packs of cards. And then a couple thousand, not thousands, but hundreds of unopened boxes. And then at some point, we start going to a flea market because I was out of work, and we start selling everything the way it was mass produced in the 90s. And then I said that I would never buy a card again. And then somewhere about 6-7 years ago, Michael got me back involved. And here I am, buying cards and opening packs like a madman.
We are going to start flipping through some of this collection as I flip through. So much here. We are going to limit it to just some of the Phillies collection. Obviously, have so much and so much to get through. Baseball collector, you certainly did not have to do that, but appreciate. And where to start? There's so much here. Let's see, who are we going to put on display?
Here, why don't you put down?
We'll put
how you won the tickets when Mike Schmidt retired. I could tell him that.
So a little bit more on that history part. Right there is a 1989 Topps Mike Schmidt card. It's actually one of, if not my favorite, Mike Schmidt Topps card. And the first packs we ever opened were 1989 Topps. I love that design. Obviously, it means a lot to me because of that. Not necessarily the greatest set of all time. Unfortunately, that set fairly lacking in rookies.
And here's another one from an open pack.
But that is what it is. But what we got here are a few Mike Schmidt autographs, and these were acquired over at Mike Schmidt's Hoagie Shop.
Yeah, when Mike Schmidt retired in the Philadelphia area, I guess about a year or two after, he opened a number of hoagie shops. It was Mike Schmidt's Hoagie Shop. And you had to put in a chance to win an opportunity to meet him and get an autograph. And Michael and his brother, a year older, Thomas, both won the opportunity. So we went there, waited in line, and got a number of autographs. And these are two cards that came from the packs that Michael opened, and I guess they're both 89 or 90.
And just have to mention, and this is courtesy, this is coming from Topps, who is a sponsor of Hobby Palooza, and this is being provided through Bench Clear Media. Stay tuned. Later on, we'll be giving away a box of 2021 Topps Baseball Series 2, a hobby box. So I have to remember to give that one away. Wanted to make sure I made that announcement as early into this broadcast as possible. Hopefully I remember to give it away because I have so much to get to. But those are some sweet Mike Schmidt autographs. And we will roll through some rookie cards. Let's just get through some key rookies in Phillies history. So this guy here was a huge part of the 2008 World Series champions. One of the, so many great memories, just not only from that night, but from the ride that season. So this is a 2001 Bowman Heritage Chase Utley rookie card, PSA 10 Gem Mint. So a super, super sweet rookie card there. And here's another guy who is a key contributor, the all-time Phillies hits leader, 1998 Bowman Chrome Jimmy Rollins in a PSA 10 Gem Mint. Had a just a sensational career, and it's one of those guys that at times you'd become frustrated, some of the pop-ups, so many times you felt like you could do a little bit better, but when you really take a step back and you realize, wow, he had a hell of a career, very long career, was just unbelievable in 2007, 2008.
Tell a little story about the home run you caught.
I'm planning on it. I want to find the other guy. Here's a Chase Utley rookie, 2001 Bowman Chase Utley. Another key contributor, Cole Hamels, 2002 Bowman Chrome, PSA 10 Gem Mint. Here's a guy I did not have the pleasure of watching, but I know someone who did. It's a 1964 Richie Allen rookie card in a PSA 6.
Yeah, but you did meet Richie Allen when we used to go to the Phillies, the holiday affair for season ticket holders only. And he was there one time. Crock was there. Many times players were there.
Yeah, and one time we met John Crock, it was at one of the sales, and my dad was rushing. He wanted to get something signed. He was signing some autographs. He's looking for something. He's like, "Oh, what are you in?" You picked up a yearbook, but I think he handed you a 1980 yearbook, and Crock was like, "I ain't gonna be in that one." I distinctly remember that. Here's another card. This was actually a lucky buy. 1995 Bowman's Best Scott Rollins Refractor rookie in a PSA Mint 9. I actually bought this one. It was mislabeled. It wasn't labeled Refractor. I had to send it back to PSA a few times. Obviously, free label correction, but these Refractors rookie cards have just skyrocketed in price over the years. And then rounding out the rookies here is a 1949 Bowman Robin Roberts. I know Robin Roberts was, his heyday was before you were really going to games and watching games, but did they talk about like the old time players a lot when you were younger?
Well, yeah, I always remember Robin Roberts, and as a matter of fact, I think when I was probably about 10 years old, Wanamaker's was the popular store in downtown Philadelphia, and my uncle met Robin Roberts. He came in to buy his son a suit. I don't know how old his son was, but of course my uncle got his autograph on a business card and gave it to me. And probably about 5 years ago, I returned it to him so he could give it to his son. But I guess I had it for over 40 years. Then I also got a Richie Ashburn ball when Richie Ashburn came to Wanamaker's, which again was a famous retail store in Philadelphia, and they had an exclusive men's department.
And guys, I know there's a million comments in here, and I appreciate all of them. I will absolutely read every one after it pops in after the stream, just trying to make sure I get through as much as possible. But I appreciate everyone participating, and I love that you guys are talking back and forth. I'll read whatever I can. Here's a 1949 Bowman Richie Ashburn rookie card in a PSA 2. This one was a gift by Dave, Blue Jacket 66. Just such a, if you don't know Dave in this community, you should. Check out his collection on his channel. It's sensational. It's unbelievable, and he is incredibly generous. This is obviously a card I will cherish forever. It's a stunningly beautiful card.
Here's a nice Robin Roberts that came from our 1990s ventures.
And then the final rookie card I have to show off here is a 1973 Topps rookie third baseman featuring Mike Schmidt. I know Ray from Philly will love that one. The GOAT, greatest third baseman of all time. And of course, Pepino Man there believes Ron Say is the reason this card has value, but I'm pretty sure we know that's not the case. But a beautiful Mike Schmidt. Just some incredible rookies over the history of the Phillies organization. Here's a sweet 1997 Topps Stars Robin Roberts. This was a product put out by Topps years ago, obviously featuring the beautiful 52 design. It's a dual 10 from SGC autograph. This one, this is a card that was kept in the collection since back when it was pack pulled, and I think it was in a snap tight, and at some point I took it out, I looked at it, I was like, this card is sensational looking, and I figured, you know what? I'm going to send it out to SGC, get it tuxed up, and it certainly pops with that black mat in the holder. So a beautiful autograph right there. I've got so many autographs. I got so much shine, vintage, modern, all kinds of stuff. I'm going to show off a beautiful set here. These are cards I'm always trying to add. Would love to put together the set at some point. Ryan Howard, beautiful 93 Finest Refractor. This is at a 2013 Finest and insert set. These are serial numbered to 25. Very, very tough to find. And that's what you have to ask yourself. If there's a player or team you collect, when cards are released, obviously there's an abundance put up for sale. And then if you look, within a few months, they start to dry up. Just think what it's like 7-8 years ago. You look for these, one pops up maybe every 6 months, if that.
There was less than 100, I think, refractors. We did have a Will Clark. The few packs we bought, we did get a Will Clark refractor, the green.
Here's a Chase Utley from that same set. Was really excited to win this one with a best offer. So these are from...
What was it, 90?
These ones are 2013, an anniversary set.
Oh, 30 anniversary? I thought
Cole
they were the
Hamels.
original. Oh,
Roy Halladay. They did a parallel of the entire set.
I thought they were the original.
Here's Cliff Lee. And then here's some of the original Finest. Very short printed set.
That's what I was
as he was saying.
about.
We didn't open a ton of them because at the time they were incredibly expensive. I mean,
I think we opened
they were a
like 2 or 3
bargain,
packs.
bargain compared to what they are now. But we did hit a Will Clark, which I did see someone actually recently showed off. But here's a Lenny Dykstra I picked up. Dykstra obviously had a great 93 season with the Phillies and some great years. Great ball player. Definitely on steroids, no doubt about that. Now he's probably on cocaine. He's absolutely nuts. There's no doubt about that. But still thankful for the memories he provided me. Here's Dave Hollins, one of my favorite players growing up. I remember telling someone, I think it might have been Johnny Callison at an autograph signing. I think it was him who asked me, who's your favorite player right now? And I told him Dave Hollins, and he was like, he's a good hard-nosed player. So that's a nice one. Here's Tommy Green, another member of the 93 Phillies. So very cool card there. And then, of course, John Crock, who, a true character. If you didn't like watching John Crock play, well, I don't know, he must have been hurting your own team. And a recommendation for any baseball fan, obviously Phillies fans will get a kick out of it, and especially Phillies fans who lived through that 93 year. The home companion video they did, I think it's called What a Ride. If you can find that, you could probably find it on YouTube. That is some seriously entertaining baseball stuff to watch. Just seeing John Crock, Larry Anderson, and all the characters. But beautiful cards, beautiful shine right there. There is so much stuff. Let's take a look at some 101 cards real quick. This was actually a gift from Jerome Yankees Cards. J.D. Hammer, he actually just made his return to the big leagues today, but he was up for a while. He is a character. Here's a Doug Glanville Archive Snapshots. This is a 1-of-1 from the Topps Vault. They didn't actually produce this card. It wasn't released in the set, so when I saw this go up for sale, and I think I got it for like $10, I was shocked I got it that cheap directly from Topps, and that was pretty amazing. He was a really good player with them. Nick Williams, Superfractor, hasn't really worked out. He's spent a little bit of time with the White Sox this year. Charlie Morton, he only made a few starts with the Phillies. Do you even remember him making a start with the Phillies?
No, not really.
He only had like 4 starts, and then he snapped his hamstring, and then he's had a lot of success in Houston, Tampa Bay, pitched in the World Series a few times.
Where's my memories going?
Here's a Rhys Hoskins 101. My dad pulled this at a high tech from 2018. This is a card I was thrilled to be able to purchase. Roy Halladay, obviously well-documented Hall of Fame pitcher. Spectacular in his few years in Philadelphia. Pitched a perfect game. I was lucky enough to attend his no-hitter back in the postseason, only the second postseason no-hitter in baseball history. Allen and Ginter, another thing I'm big into collecting. I mean, just an incredible card. Able to grab that one. My dad bought this one on eBay. This is a Bryce Harper Bowman's Best. 1/1 printing plate. And I guess he bought it. I was out working. I had no clue he was buying it. And I got a message from someone like, oh, why'd you buy this card? You could have just contacted me. It was someone on Instagram or something. I was like, I didn't buy it. He's like, well, someone bought it and they have your name. And I kind of knew exactly what was going on. Here's another Halladay autograph from Topps Archives Signature Series. A Bryce Harper 1/1 Canvas Collection card. Signed by the artist. Dominating the market on the Nick Williams 1/1s. That's a high tech. Here is the Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper's first Superfractor as a Philly. So this one was purchased at the Philly show. I was hanging out with Ed Wesker Griff, who I know is chatting it up in there. And my dad was talking to this dealer who seems to snag most of the 1/1s. And I was in and out of that conversation. I know at some point the dealer offered this at a certain price, and then all of a sudden he quoted a higher price, and then I forget if it was myself or my dad who said, well, you quoted this price, and he said, I don't want to sell it, and then it was a back and forth, but in the end, it was sold for the price he quoted, and I think he quoted below what he wanted to, but that's a pretty sweet card there. I know that's one of Ed's favorite dealers. That is sarcasm. Jim Thome, 1/1 autograph. Here's a 1/1 Bryce Harper. Discount deal from Topps.com. A lot of the Topps X sets were purchased and opened by someone in this video, and I wasn't the one that opened as many as the other one. But did hit a few 1/1s, and fortunately did hit some 1/1s for a team I collect. Bryce Harper 1/1 gold. Received a Gem Mint 10. Here is a Bobby Abreu 1/1 Home Run Derby legend. Incredible. You know, it was just super exciting when he won that Home Run Derby. It was a lot of fun. I mean, at the time, the Phillies obviously hadn't been winning a lot and hadn't gotten a lot of spotlight from, really the national media. So that was definitely a ton of fun when that happened. So that's an awesome card there. And then here's another SGC, just the autograph in a Gem Mint 10. Not a 1/1, but it's a cool card. And believe it or not, back in, I believe it was 2004, the first year of Citizens Bank Park, Dollar Dog Night, I'm there at the Phillies game with several of my brothers, my dad, myself. There's at least 4 of us, maybe 5 of us. I forget where our seats were, but it was Expos Phillies.
Right field, we had season tickets, partial plane.
I guess the seats were in right field.
About row 8 or 9.
Well, at some point, my brothers were still hanging out in right field, and my dad and I decided to go, what the hell, let's go get a Dollar Dog. So we get a Dollar Dog, we head over to left field, just march down there, sneak down, sit there. Sitting there, David Bell's at the plate, hits the ball. I'm looking at him like, this ball is coming directly to me. Sometimes you just know it. Stand up, stick my hands up, poof. Ball lands in my hands, catch it barehanded. Ushers come down, they take the ball, they get it signed by David Bell, all that stuff. We decided to go back to, after the ushers said, oh, come with us for that, decided to go back to our seats in right field. By the way, I do still feel kind of guilty that I just kind of snuck down there, was down there for no more than like an inning and a half, and snagged a home run ball.
Maybe half inning.
Might have been a half inning. We head back to right field. Towards the end of the game, Bobby Abreu comes to the plate, hits a ball to right field. My dad has a glove, catches the home run ball. So 2 family members both caught a home run ball in a Major League Baseball game within a few innings. Probably had a better chance to win the Powerball, and as cool as an experience it was, I might have preferred the Powerball, but then again, I wouldn't be here telling you that story. So That was pretty crazy.
So we have both balls, and the balls are marked inaugural season for Citizens Park.
And both are autographed. Got them autographed by Bobby Abreu and David Bell. And, you know, the other cool thing is David Bell and Bobby Abreu are both relevant players. Bobby Abreu will get Hall of Fame votes. Will he make it? I doubt it, but he'll be on the ballot for a few years. He had a fantastic career. And David Bell, you know, part of a baseball family, 3 generations of players, and now he's still in the big leagues. He's a manager with the Cincinnati Reds. Here's a JT Real Muto Superfractor from 2020 Topps Finest Flashbacks. Beautiful card there. And then, of course, a Superfractor of JT Real Muto from Turkey Reds. So some sweet Superfractors. They don't come up very often. If you get a chance to get them at a fair price, I certainly recommend you do so. We're already 25 minutes into this. I appreciate everyone watching. Super, super fun and so much stuff to show off. Let's take a look at some vintage. We've got Bill White, 1968 Topps.
We do have some Phillies I was buying in the 90s when I worked downtown.
1969 Topps. Cookie Rojas, guy who played everywhere.
Now him I remember from when I was a kid. Him playing every position, pitching.
And you see he's got that
Probably pitching in
lengthy
the
career.
game where the Phillies were 10 runs behind. They didn't win many games back then.
Chris Short, 1970 Topps. Probably not following the card market too much in 70, I would guess. This is probably a sore spot, I'm sure. You know, I've heard about it forever. I didn't have to live it, but 1964 Topps Gene Mauch. 1964, I believe it was 64, right? That didn't necessarily go well.
They were I think seven games ahead. And they managed to lose about 10 in a row at the end of the season, and he alternated Jim Bunning and Chris Short every other day. Unheard of today. Alternated them starting, and in most cases, pitching close to 9 innings.
How about 1967 Topps Bob Euchre in a 6? Do you even remember Bob Euchre playing for the Phillies?
No.
I feel like Bob Euchre was never known until his announcing career, specifically, you know, the comedic portion of it and the fact he's in Major League and stuff, but he was a catcher for the Phillies.
This guy was one of my favorite players.
Here's a favorite here, 1965 Topps Wes Covington.
He held the bat kind of down and always hit line drives. I remember as a kid trying to imitate his bat, and I learned to hit left-handed by imitating what he was doing.
And here's another one with Wes Covington. This is in a PSA 8, also featuring Johnny Callison, a fan favorite. How much was Callison followed back in the
Callison? Oh, he was the most popular. I remember him being the only all-star, and I can't tell you what year it was, and he hit a home run in the game.
I think it was a game winner, wasn't it? A walk-off? I'm not sure.
It probably was.
Here's Dallas Green, longtime Phillies player, manager for a while, obviously the manager of the 1980 World Champions, executive, all sorts of stuff. And a 51 Burke Ross, Robin Roberts. So Robin Roberts, really, I know Richie Allen, I saw in an interview, he was like, people would ask, who's like the ultimate Philly? And he would talk about Robin Roberts, because Robin Roberts was always known as that ultimate Philly. Some other old school stuff. 1954 Topps Paul Penson. Not sure that you remember him.
For Dave Philly. I thought his name was Dave Philly because he was a Philly.
Grant Hamner. Del Ennis. Del Ennis was a pretty popular Philly, wasn't he?
He was before my time. Maybe when I was a baby. What year?
That's a 54 Bowman. Here's a 53 Bowman black and white Bill Nicholson. One of my goals is to get at least one example from all the different sets, so
I probably
Sometimes-
didn't start really listening to the Phillies to probably 57.
There's a 54 or 48 Leaf Del Ennis. Sweet card there. 1950 Bowman. Kurt Simmons. Kurt Simmons very active in the area, signing autographs. Had a golf course for such a long time. Some other guys. Ted Kaczynski. Robin Roberts. How about Jim Coker? Do you remember
I
him?
don't remember him.
It's actually a really nice card. It's a catching pose. It's the Rookie Cup,
I
old
remember
school
Stan
Rookie Cup.
Lapata.
Here is Stan Lapata. 57 tops and a 5. Did you have that card in a bicycle spoke at some point?
I didn't do too much of that. Mostly flipping them.
56
Except
tops,
the
Robin
Phillies.
Roberts.
We did treasure the Phillies. Keep them in like a cardboard box, shoe box or something. But like I said, I did have a lot of Phillies, and I believe my cousin still has them. He's probably 14 years younger than me. I'll put him in his late 50s.
And one of the amazing things about the Phillies is that history. And I often think about like past relatives. Were they into, did they go to a game and see these guys play and stuff like that? And some of the stories, you might have had relatives who lived next door to these guys. You read about some of them, especially the guys from like the early 1900s. I do some research and you find about how they, after their career, they moved down south to start like a peach farm and stuff.
Yeah, well, when I was in 6th grade, the kids sitting next to me lived on a street that Chico Fernandez and Ruben Gomez lived in during the baseball season. They rented a house in North Philadelphia. And he got me their autographs on a scrap paper. I think I might have it somewhere, or I might have gave it to Mike.
Here's a Chuck Klein from 1933 Gowdy, one of the old school Hall of Famers for the Phillies. I don't know if they ever talked about him in the past. Back when you were younger, because you didn't have the media coverage you have now. Here is another Chuck Klein 32 U.S. Caramel, awesome card in at 4. That's a tough card to track down. There's a Del Ennis. This is from 1949. It's an R302. There's so many issues you can look. So if you're fortunate to root for a team with a long history, you have a lot to try and check out. Here's a 1933 DeLong, Chuck Klein. Love that set. Check out this one, 1922 Nielsen Chocolate, Lee King. Probably was not very good. I look up some of these players and you find out they were like a 214 career hitter, had like 3 career home runs. There's Dick Bartell, 1933 Eclipse Import. It's another Chuck Klein from 1940 Play Ball. 41 Gowdy Hugh McKay. Green background. There's so many variations. Chuck Klein from the 1936 S&S game in a 5. And obviously this isn't a full collection showcase because, well, if we went through the super low-end stuff. I also want to thank all the people over the years who have had so many kind things to say about the binders. The binder set, the Ultimate Phillies Topps team set. That was an idea I came up with quite a while ago, 1951 through current. It's up to date through 2021 Topps Series 1. Still got to get that Series 2 team set at some point. There's a Merrill May double play. But I know I've had so many people tell me, you know what, that was such an incredible idea. You inspired me to do the same thing, and that's always great to hear. Here's a 62 Topps Jack Baldschen. You remember him?
Yeah, I remember him. I think he pitched for probably 5-6 years with the Phillies. Take a look at it.
Well, 62 is one of the few years that doesn't actually have the year-by-year stats, unfortunately. Here's a Jim Constanti, won an MVP. He's one of the whiz kids. This is a 52 Topps. Beautiful, beautiful card there.
I mean, until 64, the Phillies were never in it. I listened to them lose 23 in a row at one point. I forget if I was 59. I guess I was 11 years old.
I guess things eventually started to turn around as they developed some players, including Mike Schmidt. This is a 74 tops Mike Schmidt. His second year card, his first solo card, so I know this is a very popular card, especially in a little higher grade. Is a Richie Allen Rookie Cup, much like that Mike Schmidt second year card, but this is quite honestly his best looking card as a Philly.
I do remember him getting his first hit, watching it. It was a night game on a little black and white TV.
Joe Cope. Is a Richie Ashburn 53 Bowman color. Of course, before this, you had Alex Bowman 53, who put together this entire set. So go check out his channel. You can follow his journey to building that set. Alex has, incredible production value. His cards, his videos look awesome. There's a 54 Wilson Franks Del Ennis. Tough card to come by. If cards were provided with hot dogs, not many of them survived. It's a Robin Roberts 60 tops.
Looks like one I bought.
Don Money 1970 tops. We definitely got his autograph at a card show way back in the day. Smokey Burgess.
And he was a long-time Pirates catcher. I think he was probably only a year.
It's Dick Sisler. Granny Hamner. Another Robin Roberts. Jim Bunning. It's a 1968 Topps game. Tony Gonzalez. Gotta love these 50 Bowman cards. Del Ennis and Robin Roberts. So obviously plenty of vintage with the Phillies, and there's pre-war stuff, and of course there's all the modern guys as well, and all sorts of stuff that brings back all sorts of memories. We got Von Hayes. This is actually out of Topps Magazine. Topps Sports Illustrated for Kids, Kurt Schilling. Just incredible in 93 for the Phillies. You got a guy like Mark Leiter Jr., not very good, but these cards are awesome. The Independence Day parallels from Topps a few years ago were amazing. And that's probably why the superstar guys go for a ton. These are numbered to 76, but the Phillies are pretty neat. So if I ever see them, I try and pick them up. I got them for like $1 a piece. Bobby Shantz, Philadelphia legend, played for the Philadelphia A's, did play for a very short period of time with the Phillies, did not have a Phillies card solo, but if you look, he does have stats on the 64 pitching leaders card. So have this one signed. This one was actually a gift by Michael Ivey, who's a viewer of the channel. Here's a couple new guys from the 51 Blake Jameson set, Harper and Alec Bohm. Pinnacle parallel of Wes Chamberlain. I know many thought he'd be a superstar. He was a 93 Phillies contributor. Jeremy Giambi, do you remember anything about him? Other than the fact that the Phillies historically...
He was around too long, right?
No, the Phillies historically always have the worst of the brothers. They had Joe Torre's brother. They had Dom DiMaggio. They had Mike Maddox. Jason Giambi was obviously a superstar for a long time. The Phillies acquired Jeremy Giambi. It's actually one of my favorite parts of Moneyball. He gets traded from the A's in that movie. They call up Ed Wade and trade him. And he actually homered in his first 2 at-bats as a Philly, and it was downhill from there. He didn't last too long. How about starting lineups back in the day? One of my childhood favorites is a starting lineup card of Mike Schmidt. Here's a modern guy, JT Real Muto, the stained glass mini parallels from Allen and Ginter insanely difficult to get, but super, super cool. E-Tops, Pedro Martinez, part of the 2009 National League champion team. Just so fortunate just to get to watch him pitch for a short period of time. Kevin Millwood, this is a bazooka bubblegum card when he threw a no-hitter. Do you remember watching the end of that game?
Vaguely.
So,
a friend of mine was at the game.
One of the stories of that game is I remember we talked about going to the game, but instead of going to that game, myself and my brother, we went to the flea market and we were selling stuff. And I remember we're riding home listening to it on the radio, and I think it was like the 6th or 7th inning. I'm like, holy crap, he has a no-hitter going. So we ran home and went and watched it. And I know we watched the end of the game with you. And Kevin Millwood threw a no-hitter, and that was super awesome. So thankfully did not miss the whole game, but I did miss the beginning of it. Lefty O'Doul, relic card from Panini. Pretty cool card there. He was an old-time Philly, well, for a short period of time. Here's a Richie Ashburn. Beautiful card from Topps Tribute, old school Topps Tribute. Veteran Stadium becomes Citizens Bank Park. Have had incredible memories in both places. Some awesome games. There's another Chuck Klein relic card. So some pretty awesome stuff there. There's another Chuck Klein, Real Muto, Quad Relic, Cole Hamels, Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, and Cliff Lee. Some guys who were very fun to watch for quite a while. All big-time players in postseason. Remember early on when he said my dad was talking about buying a lot of boxes? Well, a lot of those boxes he bought were like 1992 Donruss.
Yeah, looking for these elites.
Very, very difficult.
I think we opened 20 boxes New Year's Eve, and we got one elite, didn't we?
We actually pulled.
You get Joe Carter?
We pulled 2 elites. I got a Kirby Puckett at some point, not in the same sitting, and then my brother got a Joe Carter. And this was pre-93. This elite is from 92. I think those ones we got were from 91. But this is a cool card. And these elites, I mean, they're numbered to 10,000, but you don't see them every day. And they're not cheap. I mean, Darren Dalton you can get, but
most of them probably got tossed with the regular cards back in.
Here's a beautiful looking card of Aaron Nola. Diamond Icons, I believe. Awesome. Roy Halladay, playoff no-hitter, as I mentioned. I was fortunate enough to see that game. Was with my brother Andrew, so that was a great memory. Here's a Chase Utley refractor.
There's a card I bought, yeah.
Harper and McCutchen relics.
Here's this, 90 on 97.
Brad Lidge, obviously sensational season with the World Series. Here's a guy who has been great this year. Zach Wheeler autograph out of Chrome Update. Some Harper parallels. Here's a card featuring a moment that I was able to watch with my dad as well. The walk-off grand slam against the Cubs. Here's a card that was probably overpaid for a little bit, but still awesome. 1997 Finest Embossed Scott Rowland refractor. Very tough pulls. This is a Gem Mint 10. I don't know the current market value on it. I think a lot of money was put into this card, but he has a shot, and he's trending towards the Hall of Fame, and he's never going to be on the level, obviously, of like a Ken Griffey Jr. or any of those guys, but if you look at other embossed refractors of those, some of those players, we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars, so it's a pretty cool card for
We
sure.
had others, but I don't think we kept them.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, we have autographs of every kind. Chuck McElroy. I just remember I kind of liked him because he had glasses. He wasn't very good, though. But I thought that was neat. I do remember him making his major league debut, being over my grandmother's house watching it on television.
Seen this no-hitter.
Terry Mulholland fan. A favorite of mine. I always enjoyed him. Left-handed. Had an incredible pickoff move. And then on August 15th, 1990, my brother Tom, my dad, and myself were there at Veteran Stadium, first base side, as he threw a no-hitter. So just an incredible experience. And I've been very lucky to have seen 2 no-hitters in person, 20 years apart. But, I mean, that's pretty awesome. And I don't care what anyone says about 1991 Fleer. It's one of the best cards to get signed. When you get it signed with blue Sharpie, looks awesome. Guy who was supposed to be a star and never made it, Ron Jones. But we got, I got autographs just along the line. He hurt one knee, and then he hurt. Yeah, he had hurt both knees. Greg Dobbs, bench contributor to the '08 Phils. J.C. Romero actually had 2 wins in the 2008 World Series. Danny Jackson, big-time performances in '93 to help the Phillies win the pennant. Just a year I'll never forget. Todd Pratt was actually the backup catcher there, and then he came back to Philadelphia later in his career.
We seen him in Baltimore. We met him.
And I was about to say we went to an Orioles game, my first Orioles game, and we went and were on our way in. I forget. I think my dad said, "Aren't you Todd Pratt?" And I forget what he said. I think he said maybe or something like that.
Well, he was all dressed up, right, in a suit and a top coat, if I remember.
Bobby Wine, Paul Bird, Kevin Stocker, a guy who came up in '93. Desi Relaford. Any Phillies fans who suffered through the '90s will always utter the name Desi Relaford and
Larry
laugh.
Anderson. You met him. He denied being Larry Anderson.
We did meet Larry Anderson one time after a game. He claimed he wasn't Larry Anderson, and he was also clearly stealing anywhere from 6 to 20 cases of soda from the vet. But I think at this point, I don't think they're going to charge him now. Billy Hatcher, '94 Flair. Here's a guy who actually was very good for the Phillies, but, broke my heart. Mitch Williams. There's only 2 cards I'm going to show off that aren't Phillies cards here, and I just do it to myself. But I'm sure my dad has memories of this.
Which one's him?
This is a Joe Carter memorable moments from 1993.
Yeah, I was, my blood pressure was going through the roof, and I was walking in circles in the yard after he hit that home run.
I was,
Michael was kind of in tears, I think.
I was more than kind of in tears. I was in unbelievable tears. But you know what? With that suffering, helped with a great moment. And if you guys see that card, that is Eric Hinsky. Eric Hinsky was the batter at the plate for the Tampa Bay Rays when Brad Lidge threw that final pitch. And shout out to Chris, who hooked me up with this spring training a few years ago. First of all, it's an Allen and Ginter. It's that incredible pose of Brad Lidge, signed by him. That moment was just so special. Obviously sports, sports isn't the most important thing in the world, but at the same time, it's pretty important. And I always tell people, I feel kind of bad for people who don't get it and who don't watch sports at all. And I get there's so many things in life, but sports is one of those things. It just connects moments in time, and it connects people. And, I can remember driving down Broad Street, heading down to part 2 of that. And, I was sitting in section 320, row 3, seat 12. My dad was in seat 11, watching that moment. And I remember 2 of my brothers were down the first base line sitting there, and then I had friends there, and it was just, it was a lifetime of watching games and, going to games and talking to friends and family and stuff about the games, and that's why it's just so special. So I certainly root for everyone to have the opportunity to experience that at some point. Just an incredible moment that I'll certainly never forget. Greg Jeffries, he, everyone talks about the bust Greg Jeffries was, and certainly didn't live up to the hype, but he did make a couple All-Star games and had a lengthy Major League career. Didn't really play great for the Phillies, but he did hit for the cycle in a game nationally televised on ESPN. I was watching it over my neighbor's house on the deck. In that same game, Jeff Juden, the pitcher, hit a grand slam. The game was started by Hideo Nomo, who at that point hadn't been hit by anybody, and Greg Jeffries hit for the cycle that day. So got this one signed by him at the National Convention a few years ago. Chase Utley autograph. Lance Parrish, that's a free agent signing that didn't necessarily work out, but I don't have a lot of memories, so... Oh, well, is a 1958 Bob Bowman. Do you remember Bob Bowman?
No, I don't remember him.
He was, I guess he was with them in the late 50s.
I kind of vaguely.
He was a guy who was on the mound in 1980. Tug McGraw. Sweet auto there. And the manager of the 93 Phillies, Jim Fergosi. Longtime player. One of the guys who got away, Ryan Sandberg, came back as a manager. Way better player than a manager, so would have preferred that in reverse, but still a cool card there. Do you remember Fernando Valenzuela being on the Phillies? As he was for a short period of time.
No, honestly, no.
He actually... He pitched pretty well considering he was at an advanced age, but it was tough finding an autograph of him. Here's Matt Stairs with that epic blast into the night in L.A. Pepino Man, I know you're watching. I'm sorry if you're having, flashbacks, but that was awesome. Jamie Moyer pitching in the World Series in his 40s. That one is inscribed 08 World Series champs. Awesome there. I knew I had a David Bell somewhere.
We watched him dig the mound out.
David Bell autograph. Caught his home run ball, as I talked about before. And guys, I knew I took out too much, more than I could ever get to. But here's a Kurt Schilling. Dale Murphy, this one was received in person.
Yeah, through the fence. The parking lot was right next to the stadium, and the players walked through to get to the parking lot. It was like a cyclone fence.
Is a beautiful Jimmy Rollins from Topps Heritage. An oddball here, 2005 Topps Kenny Lofton. He spent one season with the Phillies, but just had a lot of memories of him coming up with Cleveland. He was like every kid's favorite player.
The All-Star game we went to.
96 All-Star game. I got his
Yeah.
I got his autograph on I think an autograph ball. Danny Ozark. I'll just leave it at I remember back in the day sending away some for whatever we were sending away for. Things that were limit one, I'll put it that way. And my dad would use the false name once in a while, Ozark. And I found out eventually why, because Danny Ozark changed his name at a certain point. His original name is a little closer to a name I have. Here's a cool Mike Schmidt. 53 Topps, Carl Drews. Willie Puddinhead Jones. Favorite of Ed Wesker Griff. Here's a card, a classic set, 1990 Leaf. We used to have sets of this.
Oh, God, we had 5
This
sets.
is Terry Mulholland. I picked this one up for like $2 because he's a favorite. So why not? Here is Chico Fernandez. This is a tough card to come by. 1958 Hires Root Beer Test Set. No tab. He's the guy you said.
Yeah, I got it. 6th grade. My friend got his autograph.
I already went through some of these. These are just duplicates. I have George Anderson, Sparky Anderson, also a Philly back in the day. Lowell Palmer. He's most known for wearing sunglasses in this card. Mickey Morandini, I remember being at a game. I remember being at his Major League debut, seeing his first at-bat down behind third base. So that was pretty awesome. That's the Desert Shield parallel. Got the Richie Ashburn collection here. Got so much. And obviously getting down to the wire. Only 5 minutes left. Bench Clear Media After Party wrap up coming up next. So you're going to want to check that one out over on the Bench Clear channel. Definitely appreciate everyone watching. So much I didn't get to just to show off. You know, we got pre-war stuff like Sherry McGee. You got the Dixie Lid, Richie Ashburn. So many that I'll show off another. The Ginter autograph collection. Starting lineup cards. Stacks of refractors. Just stacks of current guys and old school guys. Incredible shine. Dynasty autographs like JT Real Muto. That Grand Slam I was lucky enough to see. And right now, if you guys are watching, there's another one there.
I remember these big tops. Big baseball.
If you guys remember the first pack of cards, the first pack of cards I opened with my dad, first correct answer wins a box of 2021 Topps Series 2. You do need to be registered at Bench Clear Media, so if you're not, make sure you go ahead and do that. And the winner is Ron Perry. So Ron, I hope you're over there on the Bench Clear website logged in. But congratulations. An hour flies when you're having a good time. Here's a 62 Topps Baseball Bucks Art Mahaffey. Pretty cool one there. Pennant. Robin Roberts auto. One of the, the old school guys will like this one. The Fatima. Super hard thing to come by. This is technically playing day Grover Cleveland Alexander. But super awesome. Another rarity. The 1949 seal test. '58 hires root beer Chico Fernandez with tab. You won't see too many channels showing off these. This is a 1934 Al Demery die cuts Chick Fullis. These are super rare, super hard to come by. A turkey red. Hard to show off on camera because it's so large, but William Bransfield. Another rarity. 1989 Topps Heads Up Test. They never released these. But this is Ricky Jordan, who I know my dad, I guess, was with a lot of other people and thought he was going to be a star back in the day. He was very collected in the 80s. And you know what? Overall, he actually had a solid little career, part of the 93 Phillies. So I appreciate everyone watching. Look at all the pre-war stuff. Would love to have showed off more stuff from 93. So many things. Can always do another video in the future. But the moral of the story is you got to collect what you love what you collect, enjoy the hobby. And there's so many ways to be involved in the hobby. Of course, you know, you can flip stuff and you can buy stuff and you can enjoy stuff and you can rip stuff. But you really want to... I like to collect everything. I love the vintage. I love the pre-war. I love the Hall of Famers. I love the new guys and the guys I'm watching now. I love the team that I watch. But, of course, you know, you want to build connections. You want to collect some stuff that you get to enjoy. And if you get to enjoy it with family and such, that all the more incredible. It's a ton of fun. It's enjoyable. And I've had a blast. Congrats to our winner. And also was struggling there a little bit with the microphone. But a lot of great memories. Of course, I appreciate everyone watching. Appreciate my dad joining.
Good night.
Have a great one. Head over to Bench Clear Media. And remember, tomorrow, you got a whole lineup. You got 12 more hours tomorrow, leading off with Pepino Man, nice and early. I think it starts at 10 or 11 a.m. I forget. Check the schedule, thehobbypalooza.com. Had a blast. I'll be responding to as many comments as I can. And tomorrow night, after the event's over, the current plan is to have a little get-together on my channel, and I'll bring a bunch of people in, and we'll just talk about the hobby and have a good time. All right, have a good night, everyone.